It is MOTUesday. What if I do the O? You need a excellent.
Yeehaw!
And where's the
finally
you?
here.
It's all you guys watching at home. It is Tuesday night here on my neck of the woods and Phil's neck of the woods. So we're calling it MOTUesday Night live here at the Slaughterhouse, and then alternating over on Phil's channel, which is Treasures for Trigger. Link to Treasures for Trigger is in the description below, along with the link for my good buddy Adam from GoFigure, or should I say, Man Atom Arms.
Man,
so Philator, Thunder from Down Under, Punch Xazyl, and Man Atom Arms coming at you live on a Tuesday night for us, Phil.
Tuesday morning for me, so
everywhere else it's Tuesday morning live. So we've got a few people in the chat already. Oh, well, speaking of drinking to that, I'm drinking from my Streamathon mug. Created, designed by Adam.
Look at that.
Oh, that's
it is a sexy mug.
So hello to Rob Vegas. Joe Recondo. How are you, buddy? Just a quick shout out to Joe Recondo.
Hey, Joe.
The realistic fur panther. So quick shout out to Joe. Oh, such a great thing. I haven't opened it yet. It's just been sitting at the bedside table. I wake up every morning and just look at it. Kenny's off to work. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for dropping in. I hope to see you on the rewatch. Classified, Chap Champion Classified, saying MOTUesday. Looking for a lunchbox still. Legend has it. Yeah. Orlando, morning. Flocked for my pleasure.
Hey, Orlando.
Sure is. It is 4:02 a.m. Well, good morning. Thanks for getting up or staying up. Either way. But I couldn't think of a better thing to do on a Tuesday than hang out with some good buddies. And so that's what we've decided to do. And for our own mental health, we've decided to stream in our time zone for a change. So we're glad that a few of the regulars are still in the chat and showing some support. I appreciate that. I do want to give a quick shout out to Adam as well. Adam, you're a legend. And one of my very good friends. And I've got in the background, you can't really tell because of my my screens, the resolution's gone a bit wonky on there, but it's the outline of your recreation of Rio Blast with all his 3D printed weaponry. I love that video. It's so cool. And you gave him shotgun hands.
Yeah.
What a brilliant idea that was.
Give him a little extra firepower, right?
Yeah. I like it. Everyone go check out that video. Link will be in the description for Adam's channel. Go check him out, which I'm sure you already do because they're a great channel. I appreciate that. It's all good, man. So how's everyone been this week?
It's only Tuesday, so if your week's gone bad so far, you're in for a long run.
I'll tell you what, ever since New Year, I feel like I haven't really caught up. We have got Nathaniel and Ethan Meyer. Did I get that right?
Oh, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. Good to see you, buddy. Good morning to Trevor and usual Mike Television. Good evening, guys.
Hey, Mike. There you go.
Good to see you.
No, I think you're right. I think with Christmas and New Year's Day falling on a Sunday, the end of the week, it really kind of threw off a lot of rhythms, and everybody's trying to get back into the routine, and it's a little bit janky to do that.
Yeah, I definitely feel janky. So, but then it doesn't have to be Tuesday for that. So, what are we going to do on MOTUesday Night Lives? Well, let me tell you, we've got a few regular segments that we're going to be doing. The first thing that I want to bring up, not the first thing that we'll do tonight, but one of the first things I want to bring up is that we're going to go through waves as they happen. So, wave one of the original 80s Masters of the Universe line and the Origins line. Wave one, we'll go through that today, and we'll compare the two, see what you got in wave one of the original run, and we'll see what we got as a comparison, wave one of the Origin stuff, and just see what the kids have, or the adult collectors are out there picking up today, in comparatively speaking. But what we are going to do, and thanks to your help, Adam, is that every show, whenever we have a guest on, we're going to ask them some questions beforehand. And what we've done is we've come up with something which, well, you actually dubbed it yourself, Adam. I thought it was a great idea. I just thought it was like a builder figure. What if Mattel came up with a Build-A-Figure concept. And it makes sense because they reuse parts all the time.
The whole
it would be
was based on reuse, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is, it would have been the most easiest thing for them to do to come up with a Build-A-Figure line back in the 80s. And we thought, well, what if we play around with that idea? So Adam, you came up with the term Masters of the Universe and have come up with something quite like this. Let me just make it full screen so that everyone at home can get a good look at this. And thanks again, Adam, for putting this together because it's bloody genius, mate. So let me explain it to you, right? Imagine it's the 80s, right? And this has come into fruition. There are 3 steps, right? Step 1 is you pick your parts, right? Step 2, you check out your colors and your accessories. And step 3, you name your figure. So in this instance, it's been named just as a this isn't your pick, but just as a character, just to see what it would be like. You've come up with Muskull, like muscle, but Muskull. Brilliant. So what use of parts have you got happening here as our?
So we've got just the standard. So there was the three body types in the first wave were the reptile, the beast, and the human.
Yep.
So we have the human torso, waist, and arms, and then we've got Scareglow's head on there because I love the Scareglow head. I think it's fantastic. And then as a little deep cut, I want the legs of the unreleased hero legs from the 88 line.
Oh, nice.
So I put those in there, and then we put Jitsu's armor on him and Man-at-Arms club is what he got for his accessories and weapons.
Brilliant. So basically, what we're going to do. I've hit the wrong button. Hang on a second. Exit full screen. So what we're going to do is whenever we have a guest on, we're going to ask them, hey, pick your parts, pick your colors, name your figure, and then we will reveal it on the show for when they're guesting. So whoever we have next time as a guest, we'll hit you up and we'll say, hey.
I also want to add to Xazyl that you said how easy would this be to have done in the 80s? And I would say almost as easy as it would be to do right now with their Origins line and with Mattel Creations. This is a no-brainer to get this done.
Retro Tinker agrees. Thanks, mate.
Right.
Yeah.
So every guest gets to take home their own figure at the end of the stream.
Well, they get to have a digital. They get to have a digital copy of their own character created by Adam. Great idea from Classified as well. But they'll say anything to get a lunchbox. If Classified puts one together, the accessory will be a lunchbox.
That's right.
But yeah, well, I believe Adam has also mentioned that there might be an opportunity for some lucky person to potentially get one made 3D printed.
Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but there definitely will be some legit figure creations happening.
Nice. All right, we'll figure that out. So thanks, Adam. Appreciate that. Adam's literally done all the legwork for this episode. I'm just throwing up the pictures.
Appreciate it, mate.
It's been a genuine pleasure.
So, Phil, you and I will have to eventually come up with our own characters too. So, as we go through
definitely
these episodes, we'll come up with our own as well, just so we can play along as well.
Adam's already come up with our original figures from the Christmas streamathon, right?
That's right.
Thunder from Down Under.
Yeah. Adam was generous enough to create all of these cool characters when we did Streamathon, which is why I'm wearing it on my mug. Speaking of wearing it, in the spirit of Motu, I've decided to just sit here in my underwear. Quite like He-Man, I'm doing the same thing. No proof required. So Adam came up with all these cool concepts for characters when we did Streamathons. We've got Philator, Gazzilla. If you know Gazz, you know that is a brilliant pick. Yeah. Man Atom Arms, of course. Cobra Han for Han's Chow. We got Kendar, which was genius with the puppet Ralph as his accessory. Ryan Animal for Ryan. Sky Commander, another brilliant idea because he's Space Commander. Thunder from Down Under, Punch Xazyl, and Slaughter S. And yeah, brilliant concept, brilliant idea, and brilliant mug. So it definitely holds liquid, and that's, I mean, what more do you need?
Right.
The mug's doing a mug thing. It's doing it.
Right. It's killing it. Have you guys at the point in your lives right now where you have your mug cupboard in your kitchen, and you're like, I can't possibly fit another mug in there, and then you're out, you're like, oh, I need to buy that mug. That's so cool. And then you're just like you're too many mugs at our age. I'm
starting to believe that I'm not only an action figure collector, but a mug collector now too.
Yeah.
Because I've got this one, I've got the Slaughterhouse one, I've got a random Sergeant Slaughter mug, and a couple of other ones I just decided to make for myself. Classified loves a good mug. I think Classified just likes anything that will hold food and or liquid.
That's right. Sky
Commander. We'll have to do a song for that guy. Good on you, Rob. I believe that Rob Vegas will be one of our upcoming guests. I don't know if he's been approached yet, but that's
you're not sure if the production team's got reached out to him yet?
We haven't gone. Yeah, he's aware of it. Rob Vegas, is he available for the next show?
It's under negotiation, but it's sounding pretty likely. So
he's cool because we'll have to get his action figure details. So the Canuck, good morning. Another Canadian in the house. How are you, mate?
I love that.
Yeah, you can never have one.
No, we're like Lay's potato chips. You can't just have one.
So we'll jump into Adam's character of the Masters of the Universe, the concept created, patent pending, Motu Creations. Here we are. This isn't Adam's creation. This was just a good looking one to do. Just a proof of concept. Oh, the Canucks getting ready for work. Have the day off, mate. If you need me to call your boss, I can do it. No problem. But this is Adam. Talk us through your idea for this character here.
So yeah, I wanted to. I kind of looked at the original 8. So because we're in wave 1, so I wanted to take things only from wave 1 for my concept, and then I wanted it to be a little bit Canadian, just as a little nod to the Great White North. But also, I'm all about. And you guys will know this. I'm all about like story. So like I couldn't just make a cool character. He had to make sense in the world of Eternia. So one of our running gags in our like friend group here in the online space is that we all want to go to Joe Fest and we all want to like go to PowerCon, but we really all want to go squatching. Like we want to go and find ourselves. Right.
Definitely want to go squatching. Hello, Brandon. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Brandon.
And good morning, Daredevil Dave. How are you, mate?
We want to go squatching and we want to catch a Sasquatch. Who is kind of, so I was like, do I do a Bigfoot but the Canadian kind of do the the Yeti? So this is kind of a Yeti-based character. So I just took the head, arms, and chest and armor actually of Beastman because I think he's kind of a brilliant sculpt, and there's been evidence of him being used before. So he was just remolded and flocked for Mossman, right? So there's already evidence that he's a generic enough looking sculpt in the head that he could be a species, not a specific character.
Right.
We took that, but I wanted him to be a little bit more man than Beastman. So if Beastman is half man, half beast, I want him to be a little bit more, like maybe 75% man. So we gave him just a human legs and human waist. And then I thought, okay, so what is this abominable snowman, missing link? What does he do? Where does he fit in the world? And when I was a kid, I remember having to make up a story about why. Because early on, I lost the power sword. You lose your accessories, and then you got the accessory pack for Christmas of it, and you're like, okay, but I had to in my mind make up a story about why they were blue. Why are these weapons blue? This isn't like it seemed like could you just put them in gray again? Like what are you doing to me, Mattel? So I said, well, what if this guy who's like a wintry snowman, what if he was actually like a blacksmith in Eternia? So he'd have like a workshop up in the mountains where he makes incredibly strong and powerful weapons. where if a weapon was destroyed or broken, you go there and he gets you a replacement. He can forge you from the ice forge of Mount Snow. He can forge you, and that's why he has the blue weapons pack axe with him. So he's a weapon maker. He's a blacksmith up in the hills, because as we know from Conan, the riddle of steel is it takes both fire and ice to make a decent weapon. And then I just came up with the name Wintor. I thought that would be real Motu like. So that's what put them together. That's what we got from concept to Wintor.
Well, it's a brilliant looking
Wintor
figure.
is coming.
Wintor is
coming.
Right? Exactly.
I love it.
Your colors. Your words are actually more on the nose than you would think, Phil, because running a little bit late on time. I wanted to have a full and done Wintor here this morning, but he's not quite ready. But he is in pieces here. He's all printed up and ready.
Wow.
I'm putting him together. And so what I was going to say, just to do a little cross promotion, is and time stamp this, Xazyl, so we know for Space Commander.
Yeah.
The next person to donate to your GoFundMe $25 or more is going to get Wintor shipped to them.
Oh, nice!
Oh,
ding!
Yeah.
Oh, let's Space Commander know to ring that bell.
Right, this is going to ring that bell. So Wintor is coming. He's coming together right now, and then he'll be done. And then we'll ship him out to some lucky supporter of the. All right, let's put his head on him.
Oh man!
So hang on, let me solo you so we can have a little bit of a.
He's coming together there. It's hard to see because he's all white, but there he is. You can see.
Oh no, there he is.
White.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So he's going to be a thing of glory, and we'll give him some lucky supporter there, and that'll.
Well, thanks, Adam.
No, it's fun.
Awesome.
I like making stuff, and I love that people like stuff that you make, right? So you just throw it out there. But
that's too generous.
Because I love story and I love Masters of the Universe, I was like, well, so we have Wintor and he's up in his workshop doing his thing. What if they just took the Fright Zone, got rid of the tree, bring it up?
Yeah. Hang on a sec. Hang on. Before we do that, Brendan's like, this is a better idea than the writers of Rings of Power could create. And he'd be awesome in God of War.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Both of those comments are accurate. So one last time, you could potentially own your own limited to one-piece Wintor.
One of one.
One of one Wintor. Details
Limited
coming
edition.
soon. Yeah, kindly $25 or more on the GoFundMe will get you. So did you say it's the first one to do it?
The first one to donate from now. As soon as it dropped, the first one.
All right, there you go. If you want to own this Wintor figure to be assembled by Adam himself, then you can own this figure. But your other concept, I was wondering about this because you sent it through and I was like, this is such a brilliant looking concept. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, so I figured if we just took the Fright Zone, got rid of that tree on top, got rid of the puppet, and then included two grayscale weapons rack with blue weapons, like the accessory pack had, you could essentially have like an Ice Forge workshop playset with zero tooling. With zero new molds, you could have a playset for Wintor to hang out in. And so I was like, I'll just throw a concept of a playset up there as well.
Dude, that looks so good.
Mate, you are a creative genius. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. The more toys you have, the more fun you can have.
So I wonder, you could almost do that with just about anything except for Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain. Those two you probably couldn't get away with making it.
I always thought that they really missed an opportunity when the movie came out, the Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren. So you've seen my movie Dolph Lundgren figure that I've made, right? The custom.
Right.
Yeah. If they just re-released Castle Grayskull in gold plastic.
That would be in bits today. That would have gold plastic syndrome, and everyone would be like, has anyone got an unbroken gold Castle Grayskull?
But if they released it in black and just spray painted it gold.
Oh yeah.
But I think that the 87 movie, they missed an opportunity to reissue us a Castle Grayskull. I think that would have sold gangbusters.
Oh, they didn't even give us a He-Man.
They didn't even give us a He-Man.
And you're asking for the castle.
I want it all. I want it now. I want a castle play set. I want a gym school dance play set.
That's awesome. There's the GoFundMe link. Thanks, Chat Champion Classified. Third person to donate $25 or more gets their very own fully assembled Wintour. I always thought when they did the Masters of the WWE Universe, that when they came up with names, I could have like MOTUified it a little bit more. So Sergeant Slaughter would be Slaughter instead of Slaughter. Right? Just those little bits that make it a little bit more Motu.
Yeah.
Are you planning on making that? Are you planning on making that set as well, Adam? The Ice Forge.
That would be ambitious. But so I'm going to reveal something that I don't even have a fright zone yet.
Okay.
I'm on the look for a fright zone. But
if you had one,
if I had an extra one, it would not be out of my realm to make myself an Ice Forge.
So I'm not too familiar with Fright Zone. What was that?
So that was the Hordak playset. So that was the Horde.
The Horde. Yeah.
They didn't get much, did they?
No, it's actually
they got a whole. They got a zone.
They got a zone. It's actually a pretty cool playset because unlike the castles, it actually has like a floor you can play on. There's actually there's a footprint of play area on it. So
okay.
It's pretty cool, and it has a trap door and it has a prison and it has I don't know if you see there the hole. There's a puppet that you put in. So there's like a Sectaurs style puppet. So it's a pretty cool playset. Like nothing's going to be Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain, but it is what it is.
Have you seen? Oh, look who's showing up! Ooh, Space Force is currently fighting off a horde of mutons, just popping in to send best wishes. Much later, we were just talking about you, Space Commander. You're gonna need your bell later.
We already put you to work. You're not even here.
And Ken's also showing up. Yes, managed to catch you live.
Ken.
Good morning, Ken.
Nice morning.
So, have you guys seen of recent times? They brought out the Batman-inspired and DC-inspired the Masters of the Universe style.
The Primal Age.
Yeah. I've seen people use that Batcave for Hordak's. The Batcave is essentially just like Castle Grayskull with a different face on the front. Like it's really a 1-to-1. And I thought those toys were a lot of fun. That line had a lot of cool play with it. But just to me, it's such a weird crossover. Yeah. Right? I never picked up any of them. No. I thought some of them looked cool. Like Batman looked pretty cool. Superman was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe Recondo's back. Morning.
Hey.
I don't know if you saw it earlier, Joe, but I showed off your flocked panther that you sent me. I appreciate it. I got to watch out for the glare reflection coming back because I'm only sitting here in my Motu undies.
Yeah, and I promise not to go on too many of these rants, but you see the Primal Age figure line come out, and you're like, just don't do DC. Just commit this amount of tooling and energy to a new line. Like just go for it, create something.
That's what I mean. Like some of them looked cool, but some of them were like, I don't really get it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why I didn't pick up any of them. Like the cats were pretty cool too. I think they did Thundercats as well. Unless
they did Thundercats and they did like horror movie. They did like Jason and Freddy and things.
Oh, crazy! Have you seen any of those, Phil?
No. I haven't. I do love the Masters of the WWE. I love the Masters of the WWE wrestling ring though. They did that really well. The Grayskull ring.
Yeah. I got one of those.
That was the highlight for me.
There somewhere.
And they did a Snake Mountain wrestling ring too, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
So the Snake Mountain one came with Hulk Hogan and the Rattlesnake.
Stone Cold with the 2 snake arms.
Stone Cold, yeah.
That's right.
I didn't get the Snake Mountain one because I don't know, didn't feel like I needed it. But full disclosure, I wasn't actually collecting Origins at all until they brought out Facade. right? As soon as I heard the Sarge was coming out as a WWE Masters of the Universe figure, I was like, well, I got to have that. And so I pre-ordered it. And then I was like, well, now that I'm getting that, I got to have his counterpart, which is Man-at-Arms. So I went back and found one from a local seller on card, and I had Man-at-Arms for like, I don't know, a year before He-Man not He-Man, until Sarge showed up. Look, Classified says, I donated. I was sold on a wind tour made by Adam. Thanks, Classified.
Here we go.
Ding.
Look at that. It would be amazing, though, if like some other random just donated seconds before Classified.
That's it. It's sold.
There'll be $10, $25 donations coming in.
That's right.
That's fine too. So I got it was after I got Sarge and after I got Man-at-Arms that I decided, okay, this line's pretty damn good. I've got to get at least He-Man and Battle Cat. And then by that stage, I was lying to myself because I was like, okay, now I'm going to have them all. Right. And then it was actually Ken that sent me the majority of my first haul of Masters of the Universe Origins. And then that was it. I was stuck. And then, now I've got a whole cabinet filled with them.
I think it was neat that, like, for proof of concept, Mattel released the Masters of the WWE Universe to see if there was, like, a market for it. And then when that was proven, they were like, okay, we'll just go full Origins. But that was, like, the test run.
Well, they're creating their own wrestling line now outside of... Well, it's already, like, a few waves deep now, right? What are they called? Just the Superstars, I think. Yeah,
just wrestling superstars that are in that line. And to me, that's like it's cool to see them on card, but it's a new scale. So there's guys that have like the Mattel stuff, and it's like the 6-inch scale, and they're like, okay, here's a new one to do, and the figures, and this will lead into like how waves of figures are released now as opposed to when we were kids. But like wave 1 of those figures had like 93 version of Shawn Michaels, and then Paul and Nash from WCW, and like Stephanie McMahon. Like it was super random, just like the assortment, and they almost didn't go together. And it reminded me, in my line of work, people leave funny things on my desk all the time. So someone left me a line. I think I sent a picture to you of it, of Bible action figures that are pretty rough. And Almighty Heroes. And so the 4 that came are Noah, Moses, David, and Samson. And I was like, these particular characters never went on one adventure together. Like never the twain shall meet. So I don't know how these, when I look at the Masters of the WWF Superstars, I was like, yeah, this is a cool concept, but I feel like it's so across the board that I don't know if it's going to land well.
Speaking of awesome guys, Dom, who I assume is at the gym, hitting the gym. How are you, mate? Good to see you.
How's it going, Dom?
Ken's excited too. Dom, it's Dom. Like he is super excited.
Yeah.
Have you got any of the modern stuff, Adam?
And he wakes his wife up. Hey, Dom's here. Dom's here.
He's waking Ralph up
while working out. So what were you saying, Phil?
No, I was going to ask Adam if he's got... I know Adam's a vintage guy. I was just wondering if he's got any of the modern Origins or Masters of the WWE.
Adorably, last Christmas, I got my son He-Man and Skeletor and Grayskull. And he, in turn, bought me He-Man and Skeletor. So we gave each other the same gift for Christmas morning.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so it was adorable. But yeah, I have He-Man and Skeletor up on the carded wall, because I think the thing that Origins did the best was the card recreation.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant. I haven't had...
Put this out, buddy. This came yesterday. This is one that Xazyl needs, I think. One of the few.
I have been on the hunt for that version of Stratos since I started collecting this. Because obviously when you come into a line late, you got to play catch up. Yeah. Right. So these are all basic. I mean, I think most of them started off as a Walmart exclusive, but then they started hitting Big Bad Toy Store. And yeah, I was a bit late. Xazyl isn't used to being in the zone. Well, yeah. Danger zone. Speaking of Big Bad Toy Store, though. So, Phil, this is a bit of bad news. I tried unsuccessfully, Phil, to try and get you a Muzzle of the Universe Origins Many Faces. Now, these were showing up again at in Walmarts, right? So they started re-releasing some of these in Walmarts. And so they had Orko and they had Many Faces Scare Glow, which I've got one for you now anyway. And I think the only double I needed that I didn't already have was Many Faces. So I went straight to Big Bad Toy Store so that they were there, pre-ordered Many Faces, and then they've gone and said, sorry, we're not having it now. So Big Bad Toy Store originally had Many Faces recently and then took it off. So all I've really done is shown you what you can't have now, mate. Sorry.
Oh, thanks very much.
I tried. So that didn't. It turns out they didn't have. It turns out they didn't have Many Faces after all.
So do you both need Many Faces?
Not Many Faces.
I've got Many Faces now.
Okay.
Yeah. Boo.
I'll check the Toys R Us here because they have some of the 40th anniversary ones there. I saw the other day. So I'll go see if they have Many Faces there.
With Origins, I'm just basically picking up the figures that are very difficult to get in the vintage line. So things like the Horde Trooper, Scare Glow, some of the later figures that came out, which are bloody difficult to find. I'm just using Origins as a gap filler, basically.
So if you found a vintage one, it would supersede your Origins figure?
Depending on the price.
Okay,
so the prices that they're asking.
I've got a few extra vintage Many Faces. So if you prefer a vintage one, I'll just send you one of those.
Well,
I think I've got I may have. I think I've got a vintage Many Faces in New Zealand. I've got figures in 2 countries, so it's hard to keep track.
That's a weird
to have that problem.
You're across the globe.
he's got little hardy holes all over the country where he just puts his rare toys. So here's a good comment from both Brendan and Mike saying it's so hard to find Motu in the land down under, and down under is a toy desert, which is true. I have been lucky enough to find some of them at a local store, not all waves. We got an abundance of Battle Cat. If anyone needs a Battle Cat, mate, I can help you there because we have Battle Cat coming out of the wazoo. There's like too many Battle Cats.
Right. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Triclops eludes me, right? Oh, do I even have Triclops? I think I got Triclops.
Yeah, and they did 2.
I haven't. So I had to go through because I couldn't remember who my doubles were. And that's when you know you've got a lot, right? If you don't know what doubles you have, then Battle Shelf Warmer instead of Battle Cat. Yeah, but that is, Battle Cat is pretty cool. Panther is as well. Now they're giving it more articulation than the other one had. Classified can only find Skeletor and He-Man, but I'll tell you what, at least Skeletor and He-Man are available for kids to buy.
It's funny because they weren't available in Canada for the longest time. So we would see pictures on all the toy groups of guys being like, look at this, like rows and rows of He-Man and Skeletor. And all we had here was like Roboto. And like because they all went out to the States in that first wave to the Walmarts. And then by the time we started getting them here in Canada, it was wave 2 and on. So to get a He-Man and Skeletor, it was like a year before we started seeing them here and readily available.
Isn't that crazy? So the only vintage Motu character I've got at the moment in my collection is this gift that Gazz got me for Christmas Streamathon. Grizzlaw, right?
There. Yeah. So there's a variant with Grizzlaw where he has a black face, and he's worth hundreds.
Okay, well, I've got the brown face one, and this one has infinite sentimental value.
Right.
I haven't given him a wash yet, but that's on brand for me. We're both looking.
So
it's the Xazyl of the motion line.
It's
maybe
funny.
when I come up with my own.
One of my most sentimental motion vintage figures is Grizzlor, because my best friend in high school, who I lost touch with, and then for 20 years we reconnected in the after the pandemic. The first time I saw him in 20 years, he's like, "Here's my vintage Grizzlor to add to your collection." And so it was a very sentimental figure there as well.
Rob Vegas.
Rob, what a beauty.
Classified says that they see Sunman around actually a lot.
So can I say this, and this may sound or appear horrible, because we all have to respect like the legacy of what Sunman is and like what he represents and stuff. I have no desire as an adult or a child to buy that figure with those crazy looking wings he wears. I don't understand the figure.
Yeah, that collar does. Yeah, I don't get it. I've got the figure. I take the collar off the front and I just wedge it in the back so it comes out like a cape,
right?
Instead of a giant 60s/70s collar. Would it be 70s?
Yeah.
60s. Which ones had the big collars? 70s, I think.
Yeah, the disco era.
This stream has given me a better pump. Put that on it. Put that on a t-shirt.
Pump it up, Dom.
Jam. Pump up the jam. The Retro Tinker says, you never know what's going to be stocked here in Oz. Yep. I looked for ages to get an Origin Skeletor. Now it's all they have. And when they have had other characters, it's been one or two of each. So here's a tip. You should, when they have them available in stock, go to the Big W website. If you order them by the case, so you think about how many are in a case. I think it's like, I think it's 6 in a case. Whatever it is, if you order enough that would fit a case, they usually send you a full case. So I did that. I went onto Big W and ordered as many as I thought were in a case, and then they sent me a sealed box, and I got all the characters. I think only a couple of doubles from there. I ended up giving those doubles to my friend Brendan Haley. And then we got Sunman from Ken. Ken saying, Sunman was my entry into Origins. Oh, okay. Love what it represents. Then got it in hand and was like, what is with this collar? Wish they made it soft goods. Wait a minute.
There's a lot to unpack there.
First of all, Sunman was your entry into Origins. You love what it represents, but you were still surprised when you got it that its collar was
That's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Awesome. Thanks for the tip. And the best part is, Retro Tinker, if you do order a full box and they send you a full box of Skeletor, you can just take it back to the store and get a refund. But I've never had that issue. I've never had that issue where I've been given like a full box of He-Man or full box of Skeletor. So it's worth the risk. And you can return the doubles. It's,
yeah,
just like a lucky dip. You don't know what you're going to get.
Classified. You can tell Classified's an Australian. He was like, "Oi, that's a good idea."
On to mate.
Well, I think it speaks to the difference between the Origins line and the Vintage line. Whereas we would go in the Vintage line, there would be walls of Motu everywhere, and we had our pick. And now we're like, to get what you need, you got to order them by the case.
Well, that's what we do with beer here. So Ken's like, it wouldn't be a Ken. This is the most true Ken comment. It wouldn't be a Ken comment at 3:40 a.m. Pacific if it made sense. Mate, I'm just like, I love that you love Sunman, and I love that you love what it represents. I'm just trying to make sense of the full statement. Wish they made it soft goods, then it wouldn't be the representation of it. But they've got, I think at this point they've got like 3 or 4 different versions of Sunman now, each with a different head sculpt or some.
They've made a Masterverse version of him that has like eagle wings.
First, I love the Masterverse line. It looks bloody brilliant, but I just can't sink myself into another bloody line. I can't. I need to stop. This is it. I'm in Origins, and then whatever Adam 3D prints me. That's it.
Yeah, and
So,
so it's fun for me a little bit. So I'm vintage only, and then I stick to that for a number of reasons. But my son has now gone from child who plays with toys. He's now like a full-blown toy collector. He's got a display cabinet in his room as well, and so he's gotten into the Masterverse line. So I can live vicariously through him and see them without having to rest on my laurels.
The Fisto figure for Masterverse is great.
Oh yeah,
I think that's my favorite out of the Masterverse line.
Yeah,
it was Fisto, and then it was Too Bad that nearly had me. Like, but I know that if I grab one or two, I'm gonna get them all. Because then I'll need He-Man, and that's how it starts. You lie to yourself.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
So I that 40th anniversary Masterverse He-Man, where the box looks like it's a real nice presentation, and I had that in my hand one day, and I was like, do I just get this one? Because he's like a one-off. Is this? And I was like, I can't do it. This is this. So I got it for my son for Christmas.
Well, yeah, that's all right, right? You can get away with it. That's probably how I need to trick myself. I'll give my son a toy he doesn't want. Jay Bartlett's in the house. Good morning, Jay. It is MOTUesday Night Live. Good to see you, Jay.
Yep.
Oh, good old chat champion classified dropping our links in the chat. Thanks.
Cheers, Fisto. So Fisto's your favorite figure, Adam?
So yes, when it comes to the vintage line, I'll admit this, you know, it's hard as a child not to say He-Man is your favorite,
right?
But
it's a no.
I think, and tell me if this was true in New Zealand and Australia, when you went to play Motu with your buddies as a kid, whoever had home field advantage got to be He-Man. Like if it was your house, if people came over, you got to be He-Man. And if you went somewhere else, you understood they were He-Man, you take your secondary character. And
yeah.
So that's
you don't bring your He-Man to your friend's house. That's a dick move.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I quickly realized when I was at my buddy Steven's house, I was like, oh, but like Fisto is maybe cooler than He-Man. Like,
yeah.
And in a line of like sword and sorceries, there wasn't that many guys that came with swords, especially in that first couple lines. He-Man and Skeletor were the sword guys, but then Fisto had a sword. He had a super cool like action. He looked great. He was a human character, which made him a little bit. Which made him
put that on t-shirt as well.
That's on t-shirt.
No comment.
A little bit more relatable, and so like and then eventually, even when I was just at home with my own stuff, Fisto became like kind of the main character, or at least at equal with He-Man.
Yeah.
So, did you guys have brothers?
No, I have sisters.
So the way things, because I'm the middle child, right? So middle child syndrome runs deep with me. But what you quickly find out as a when you've got brothers, and it doesn't really matter, I guess, if you're the youngest or the oldest or whatever. But after a while, things like Ghostbusters and things like Ninja Turtles, right? They get broken up into, you pick a character, right? And then generally speaking, you get lobbed with that character throughout the lifespan of that collection, right? You're always going to be Raph, or you're always whatever, right? Because the people take ownership. Brothers, well, my brothers did anyway. I'll start talking like it's a regular occurrence. In my household, we had a character and we stayed with that character. So I very quickly learned to latch onto secondary characters first, so that I didn't have to worry about the competition, right? So while everybody's looking at He-Man, I'm like, well, who are these other cool characters then? Like, who is, like, Fisto became a favorite for the exact same reasons. Like, He-Man was already getting fought over. Who's this guy?
Right.
Who's when everyone wants to be Thunder. Well, I liked Thunder Punch He-Man. He was my He-Man because all the other He-Mans were, whether it be the battle armor or whatever. So Thunder Punch would be my He-Man. So I got my own He-Man to sort of imprint on as well. But yeah, Fisto, Man at Arms was another one where I was like, okay, I'm going to take the secondary character and make it my own, and that way I didn't have to have that battle of the He-Mans. Took myself out of the equation. I was like, nah, this other guy.
There's a great comedian, Brian Regan. Are you guys familiar with him?
Never met him.
Oh, he's a nice guy. But he has a bit where he's like, I was the middle or the youngest of brothers, right? And so they would always be like, hey, you would claim stuff. So he started claiming stuff nobody wanted. So like, Dad says, okay, we're gonna drive 8 hours to Disneyland. He's like, dibs in the back seat in the middle with my feet on the hump. That's my spot. Dibs, I call it. You pick the battles that you know you can win.
Right. That's see, perfect. And that was another thing we had as kids as well, is that we had our side of the car. And if you tried to sit on another side of the car, you're in trouble. It's like, that's my seat. It's like, it's what?
Yep.
What? Thanks, Classified. I'm using this as therapy now. I'm talking about my childhood trauma. Thank you for the link, Classified. Classified did purchase. I got to show it off again for those that just may have shown up. Adam's Masters of the Universe, the concept being that you can create your own Masters of the Universe, and Adam has created Wintour, and Classified very kindly donated in order to own their very own Wintour action figure. And the idea being that every time we have a guest, we'll hit them up with, hey, pick your parts, pick your colors and accessories, make your figure, and then Adam has very kindly offered to do up a digital design to show off on our show.
Exactly.
Thanks, Adam. Legends. So the Retro Tinker says the only Motu figure I had that was mine and not my older brother's was Ratlaw that they brought from the op shop for 20 cents. Bargain. Wish I still had it. Yeah, but at least you got the memories of it. I think the memories of action figures are more valuable than anything else.
It's interesting. We're talking about wave one here of the vintage line.
Yeah.
So I was born in 81. So at 1 year old, I wasn't playing with Masters of the Universe. That wasn't where I was at.
Right.
I was 3-4 before I started getting these guys in my hand. So my He-Man was Battle Armor He-Man. That was the first figure I had. So like you said, in Origins, you kind of missed all these. But every year at my public school, the grade 8s would go on a trip. They'd go on like a Toronto trip. And so they would do a yard sale in the gym during lunch hours to raise money for that. And so grade 8 is a great time for guys to get rid of their toys because there's zero attachment. They just want to get rid of them. So I remember I brought a $5 bill and I was like, oh, it's the yard sale. And I went and I was in grade 3. I think it was 89. So I had my Motu guys, but they weren't in stores anymore. And so I went. And for 50 cents each, I bought the entire first wave.
Nice.
So I had $4 and I had all the original figures. And that, like, to me, I was never happy. I came home like I won the lottery. I was like, yo, just leave me alone for hours.
That is a true bargain. Hey-oh, more Slaughterhouse, Scootmeister. Dom says that he's hopping into the shower with 3 men talking, just a normal Tuesday. Yeah. Well, I am mostly naked from the waist down. So,
Dom, you missed a spot there, Dom. Get back.
Yeah. Lift. Get the undercarriage. Hey, Jeff, how are you, buddy? Masters of the Universe is a much better idea than the selfie series. So
just call Mattel for us. Tell them, I know they're watching, but just if Jeff can call Mattel and let them know that we have a concept they should buy from us, that would be great. Well,
now that the parts are interchangeable, it's so much easier for them to do something like this now. Masters of the Universe. I still like this character too. For a dummy one, just for a dummy version, you're like, let's just see whatever. This is gold. Gold.
I'd take that. Yeah. Put it on a peg. Sell it.
Yeah.
Keep on collecting. There he is.
How are you, mate?
That guy has some Brave Star stuff in the mail. It should be there any time now.
Good to see you guys. Hope you're all well. We couldn't be any better. We're talking Motu.
Couldn't be any better.
MOTUesday.
So we're talking Motu.
So I also want to say, just to get us maybe a little bit more back on track here. When it comes to this first wave, when it comes to wave 1 of Motu, I don't think there's ever been before or since a better first wave of characters. Whether it's G.I. Joe or Thundercats or whatever it would be, And especially like in modern times where there's like a real strategy to like, we're going to release the first wave. It's going to have 2 main characters and then like 3 placeholders and then a repaint. And it's a real like, algorithm that they do now. This was Mattel saying, we want to beat Star Wars. We want to be cooler than Star Wars.
Yep.
Let's make a line that has incredible figures across the board. And so if you only ever had these 8 figures, you could have endless Motu adventures with just this. Like it's perfect.
If this was the only wave that they ever brought out, it's a dynamite wave of toys.
Dynamite wave. It gives you all you need.
Yeah.
And there isn't a weak spot in it.
No. David's here. How are you, David? Good to see you, buddy. Hi, fellas. Hello. Merman obviously didn't come out looking like this, but I think arguably the rest of them are pretty spot on.
Yeah.
A few differences here and there, but Merman being the one that is most different to what the release was. But this image I found, someone was selling this picture on Amazon. I just stole it, grabbed the image from Google, but someone was selling this on Amazon. So that's where I found that photo. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Classified says, I'm liking these Streamathon and GoFigure mugs. You guys should do more merch that can be purchased.
So all of the mugs that we are drinking from can be purchased from my my TeePublic site.
There you go.
I'll send you a T-shirt, Classified.
There we go. Look at this.
With a lunchbox on it.
T-shirt coming your way.
The lunchbox series. This is all.
Yeah, and a T-shirt inside a lunchbox. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're still waiting on your merch to be done.
Yeah. So I am since we know who the figure is going to, I am going to say that when Wintour goes out, he will have an additional accessory of a lunchbox with him.
Brilliant.
So he'll have his axe and his lunchbox.
All right, so let's dive into Wave 1. So here's a representation of what you got in Wave 1. Hit like. Thanks, Dom. Cheers, buddy. And subscribe if you're new. Subscribe to these guys before you do. So this, Wave 1, I took a picture of everything that was available for Wave 1 on the first editions for Wave 1 of Origins. So Scoop Master says, I'm just here basking in the oldies we once had as kids. Oh, these boys are old. Good stuff. Yeah, us too. Same. But Scott's also here. How are you, Scott?
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, buddy.
Scotty, happy 1,000. 1,000 subs. Well done, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Congrats, mate.
So this is what you got for Wave 1 in Origins. Just tuned in, says William. Is MOTUesday a weekly special? To be determined. We'll see. It'll definitely be on a Tuesday. I'll tell you that much. Definitely on a Tuesday. Whether it's every Tuesday, we'll see. Down to availability. So this is what you got in Wave 1 of Origins. So as a kid, today, if you're looking at this as a complete Wave 1, and then as us, as kids, looking at that as a complete Wave 1, well, it's lacking a little. But what I will say is at least, most of these guys are representative of what that came out in Wave 1 for the original, except for Evelyn. So I like the fact that they've included her here in Wave 1 of Origins for a little bit more of that diversity. And
I think they included her because she's just Tila's body.
Well, yeah, obviously that too.
I love that we're all PC like, they're going for a real diverse thing.
It was cheap.
Money to be made.
Yeah. Let's launch into the action figures of Wave 1 back in the 80s, 1982. Now, I got these images from the Battle Ram blog. Definitely check them out. Great stuff there. I believe I put the link in the description there as well as everyone else that's here. Oh, I forgot to mention, I should have mentioned it at the beginning, that awesome stop motion animation from Corbra Lang. I put Corbra Lang's stuff in the link in the description as well, fumbling my way through that. But thanks, Corbra Lang, for doing that stop motion. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant. I'll play it again on the outro. But here we are, the perfect hero, the one that everybody wanted when it first came out, the one that has got his name in the TV show, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. But it was just Masters of the Universe as far as the action figures were concerned. I mean, what more do you want? No,
he's
perfection.
He's perfection. Like I always think it's neat when people talk about like the big three or the big four, if you include Barbie in the 80s of the toy lines. This was like the only original idea. Everything else was kind of borrowed or legacied in from another line. Like G.I. Joe had the lineage of the 60s. Transformers was borrowed from Takara, so they kind of had to make it work in here. And Barbie was around but this guy was an original creation. Now you can say the Conan connection and whatnot, what happened with them. We don't really know what happened, but someone sat down and drew a version of this character, and then it eventually became in plastic on the shelves. And I wonder if they knew they were had any idea the icon that they were creating, how recognizable he would be for years to come.
Yeah, it's just when you got a line that doesn't just sit in the mythological stuff. It also goes into like the space as well, and so you've got sorcery, you've got magic, you've got science and technology as well. And other than, I mean, I guess maybe Star Wars, but other than that, who else was really doing that, mixing the genres? And even Star Wars weren't really doing it; they were just an homage. Whereas Masters of the Universe were literally using both in the same world.
Yeah, they would have a barbarian fighting a spaceman.
Yeah.
Right?
Corbra Club. I will play it again at the end. It's so good. So good. But yeah, the He-Man. Probably the first image that pops into your mind when you think of He-Man is, regardless of who your favorite He-Man is, this is probably the one that pops into your mind.
Yeah.
And with the half sword, though.
The half sword. Absolutely.
Does anyone have a preference over half or full sword? Don't say that while Dom's in the shower. Are you on half or full sword?
Cold water, Dom.
I'll say this because I'd say 80% of my vintage Motu guys have printed weapons. There are some that have original weapons. Actually, it's growing as I've been finding more weapons. And so I printed up I designed up a version of the power sword that was a whole sword, vintage style whole sword. He kind of took a scan, flipped it, doubled it, and there's something that's just not right about it. You put it in his hand, and you're like, no, that's not the way it should be. And so now I've all my vintage stuff has recreated. I've done half swords.
We got William here saying that he loves the vintage line. The only setback is the leg bands, but I guess they weren't made to last. You get to see Adam with a fix on his channel. So check out GoFigure, because it's after a few trial and errors, I think you've almost perfected it, right?
Yeah, no, the leg buttons I've got have changed my game, and I've actually modified it now. So there's two versions. One is that what you saw where you put the band around it, but I've now made a version that has a hook on it, so you can just hook the legs in.
Huh.
So they're actually swappable out now. So it's there's a couple different fixes there that I think have made the nightmare of changing those bands go away. Perfect.
Jeff is a fan of the full sword. Full sword! But Trevor is a fan of the axe. Well, yeah. I mean, he wasn't really back then. He was a man of many weapons. Right? The power sword was just one of them.
But the sword wasn't meant to be a weapon. The sword was meant to be the key. His main weapon was supposed to be the axe.
Yeah.
All the promo art for the first wave, he's always using his axe in battle, and he's just got his sword is not to be seen.
I got to say, attaching the purple half and making it a full sword, I don't know. I don't know if I can go for that.
No, it's pretty rough.
Speaking of the other half of the sword, Skeletor. This is the full boot version. I know there are variations. Adam, you're the expert on the variations, but this is a image I stole from the Battle Ram blog. Do check them out.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, a home run as far as bad guys concerned.
And as far as the variation goes, yeah, there's half boot ones and there's half boot pink face ones and whatnot. if you're gonna have one vintage Skelly, this is the one you want. This is the one that was out there the most. We as toy collectors sometimes adhere more worth to the more rare things, but oftentimes this is the most iconic version of Skeletor.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, with the ram head as well. It's just a great look.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he doesn't need the power sword, in my opinion, because that Havoc staff is the primary weapon as far as. Can anyone do a Skeletor impression? Anyone want to give it a crack?
What do you want me to say? Skeletor? What do you want me to? I'll go for it. But I need to. Dom, when you're in the shower, you must wash all of your body parts. I think.
Nailed it. I bought that. I bought that was definitely him. Brilliant, Adam. Those bands are a nightmare. Yeah, that's all I can do. Yeah, He-Man. That's it. That's all I got.
I will say, in this picture is exactly what every Skeletor Havoc staff looks like. It's got a wow in it now. If you boil the kettle for a cup of tea and then pour it into a mug and then don't put tea in there, but instead put your Havoc staff in there and then slowly pull it out straight, that thing will straighten right out and be perfect.
But will it eventually bend again, or
no? Because it was made straight, and over the years it's bent. Because they bent because of the way they shipped them in the package.
Gotcha.
So they were curved against his body because they put them all behind.
Oh, okay.
And so then if you straighten it out, it stays straight forever.
Quick shout out to TJC. Just popped in to say hi. Is at work. We'll catch the replay later. If you need to go home sick, mate, I'll call in for you. Happy to do that for anyone watching.
If you guys had to pick one, Skeletor or He-Man.
Oh, that's tough.
If you could only have one, which one would it be?
Oh,
I have to go.
I'm taking Skeletor.
You're taking Skeletor?
I'm taking Skeletor. I've always been more in line with the evil warriors than the heroic warriors.
Oh, that's a fair assessment. To me, it's got to be He-Man. If you're gonna have one, it's got to be the title character,
the main face. Yeah,
fucking Dom. I'm only full sword when I combine my sword with another person's purple half.
I think I need the adult.
Oh, he has the power. Adam and Xazyl have done a Skeletor impression. Now we need Phil to do one. Yeah, go on, Phil. Do a Skeletor.
Matt, you boob.
There you go. Brilliant. Oh, we are so good at this. We can just do the 3 Skeletor. We need a 4th for a quartet.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon we nailed that, guys. But if you had to pick between one or the other, it's so tricky. I guess I would go Skeletor only because, like, I can obviously have another character, right? I can have a bad guy. I mean, I can have a good guy to go up against Skeletor. It just can't be He-Man. So right. I'll take Skeletor and then have Man-at-Arms or Fisto or someone to go up against him instead. But that's a tough choice.
Yeah,
Phil, that's a real tough choice. Probably the toughest choice of any kid if you could only pick one. Because it'd be impossible, right? Mom, I need both.
Cool choice.
Oh, absolutely. You needed these two to start the collection, which is why I think Origins in Canada struggled for a bit because you couldn't get He-Man and Skeletor off the shelf. So for kids, they're not going to get into the line unless they get the 2 main characters. That's what you need to have to start it.
There you go. You got the seal of approval, Phil, for your Skeletor. My favorite character, Man-at-Arms. My grandfather got me my original Man-at-Arms. G-Force Racing 20. Sorry. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. My grandfather got me this. It was my favorite character in the cartoon. I will say that whilst this is an excellent action figure, even without seeing the cartoon, this guy really does need a mustache. And I'll tell you why. Because you can't have eyebrows that bushy and not try to balance it out somehow with a mustache or a beard or a goatee or something. So, Adam, you were saying that this is one of the variants of Man-at-Arms.
Yeah. So the first run, so there was a very first initial run, which is where you got the half boot Skeletor and the short boot He-Man. And if you look at Man-at-Arms' helmet, his little dots there are red. And so only the first production run had those, and after that they were all just yellow. So if you have a red dot Man-at-Arms head, it is slightly more rare and worth about the same.
I wonder if Dom's seen any helmets today that have red dots on them. So then, so this one is...
This is one that I want in Origins, because the Origins has got the moustache.
Right.
But you can create this version with Origins with the Eternia Guard, because he comes with a separate head without the mustache.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, if you want a little extra head with no mo, that's your way to go. No Motu.
No Motu head.
But if you had to pick between Man-at-Arms and this guy, Beastman.
So
there you go. That's my Beastman.
Beastman was my main, not main villain, but my Skeletor kind of stayed at home a lot. He'd send his warriors out. So Beastman was always the guy leading the charge into battle. And so I would pick, if I had He-Man, I would pick Beastman over Man-at-Arms. Just to have him.
What about you, Phil?
The problem with Beastman, he always loses his paint over his nose and stuff. I've got a couple of Beastmans. He's got he's the white nose. It always wears so, and his accessory is really hard to come by as well. So this is another one that I'd like to get in Origins too.
That came from the Big Jim line, right? That whip.
Yeah, the whip came from the Big Jim line. Yeah. So he's actually holding on to the finger guard. Big Jim hold on to the actual cylinder, and so they just flipped it around.
So Classified saying, I really do want a Motu Sarge. It's looking so good on screen there. Eyes are up here, thanks, Classified.
Sarge is really checking out Beastman there.
Yeah. I would obviously pick Man-at-Arms over Beastman, but those are still some. I mean, look at the armor, look at the collar. What a great looking action figure. The light blue woolly underwear is it's something. Matches. Is that face paint on his face? Is that a warrior paint?
Yeah, I think the blue is warrior paint and the white is his natural skin color.
Then we move on to Merman. Can anyone do a Merman?
Oh, that's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah, I can't do it. He has like a warbly.
I'll get you, man.
It's you.
That's my yeah.
Now, so this. Oh, so this is the variant. This is the first variant of Merman as well. So okay. You can see his belt is green there. Most Merman, it's orange. It's just one color. And so if you had a green belt one, that's the rare one.
So Merman was my main guy as far as bad guys were concerned. So it was always Merman versus Man-at-Arms. But look at the difference between, that's the wrong picture, that Merman in the corner there, which they later did do in an Origins figure. So if you wanted to have one, you can. Versus that look. Two different styles, but
his sword looks so terrible. It looks like a corn cob, you know?
Yeah. Corn cob sword.
Just missing a bit of butter on the top.
You guys are beach people. You're from the land of sand and water.
Yeah.
Have you ever stepped on a piece of coral and gotten a cut?
We just have to watch out for glass and bogans, really.
A coral cut is terrible because it's jagged. It's rough. It's wicked.
Yeah.
This is the most dangerous weapon of all Eternia. I'm convinced.
Is that coral or is it teeth? I thought it was teeth.
I thought it was coral. I thought it was made of coral.
Wiki, Adam, the Motu Wiki. If you say it's coral, I'll believe you. But I always thought it was teeth.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I thought it was corn. So.
In the chat, what is it? Is it corn? Is it coral? Or is it teeth? I don't know why.
My money's on it.
Coral cuts are the worst.
They are. It's brutal. So I will say this too. My favorite of all time is Merman. That was
there you go.
Xazyl did the incredible impression.
Well, we all did a very incredible impression. Phil used actual water.
So actually, Merman. A couple things in Merman. Merman was my least favorite character in the Kevin Smith Origin or Revelation show because he was just Batman. He didn't sound like Merman at all.
That's true.
Sound like Batman. And I love Kevin Conroy. Like, he's fantastic. He's a legend. Like, honestly, like redefining the character of Batman was not my choice for a Merman voice. I think that.
So he did Merman's voice?
Yeah, and it was just like,
Oh.
I'm gonna go find, and he just sounded like Batman.
Okay, well that makes sense. That's why it sounded like Batman.
Yeah.
I never usually look at the voice cast when I'm watching cartoons. I like to just sort of sink myself into it. Like it became literally, I think I was in my 20s before I realized that Mark Hamill did cartoon voices.
Right.
Like Hobgoblin and the Joker. I had no idea. I didn't really do much of a deep dive in there. Yeah. But he was my guy.
But I will say, and I think this is a weird, maybe not an ideal byproduct of the adult collecting community, is this Merman's head gets ripped on a lot because it doesn't look like the art on the back. And because the new one came out, the Lords of Power Merman, like this, and so there's a real like arrogant hatred for this Merman head. But as kids, we had no problem with that. We didn't care that it looked like the back. This is Merman.
Oh, yeah.
To me, this is the iconic Merman. I saw the Lords of Power one in the store. I was like, that's cool. But to me, this is what Merman is. And the fact that he's got the same head as Stinkor, I don't care. I love it even more.
You can't even tell. I had no idea. When I was a kid, I had Merman and Stinkor. And I gotta tell you, there's no memory in my head where I looked at those two and thought they were the same character. I can't. Even Beastman and Merman, Beastman and Mossman, sorry. Yeah. Even those two, even though that's a little bit more obvious, it's still never in my mind made me think that they were connected like that.
No. Stinkor has the same teeth as well? Just exactly the same?
Exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah, he even looks like he's got corn sword there as well. All right. I still think it's teeth, but until I'm proven otherwise, I'm going to say it's his tooth sword.
All right. I'm going to
iconic figure though, eh?
Oh,
you can't have a Motu collection without a Merman.
No.
Yeah, I'd never noticed. I was too busy playing and having adventures that I didn't notice. I didn't even notice that my Robin Hood Prince of Thieves toys were repaints. Except for the heads, obviously. But I had no idea. I didn't care. I was just playing toys.
Just playing toys.
All right. Are we going to do impressions of everyone as we go? Or
I think
I hope not.
But this was just Sean Connery, right? In the TV show, he was just like, how would Sean Connery say it? Well, man, we have to go to the Castle Grayskull. Like that, he just was. Sean Connery.
That's great.
Brilliant.
So we've got Stratos. Now he didn't come with any accessories.
Well, he came with 3 accessories: a jetpack and 2 wings.
All right, okay. Thanks, Wiki. He didn't come with any weapon. He came with 2 fists of fury. I thought it was a swordfish sword. Oh, well, that makes sense too.
Yeah. Question for you guys before we dive into this: blue wings or red wings when it comes to Stratos?
Red is the first one that came to my mind. When I was pulling images, they showed both the blue wings and the red wings, and the red ones just sort of struck me as being right.
So I had my eternal struggle as a child is I had my figure was blue wings.
Yeah.
The TV show was red wings.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, why? So I have both on my shelf because I still can't rectify my childhood toy versus what actually was in the media. So I have to have both of them on my shelf.
Just switch the wings out and have one each.
This is my favorite figure in the first wave outside of He-Man and Skeletor. The fact that he's got those those 2 color variants.
Yeah.
What did they show? What was the
gray color? The gray color of the figure too is just very iconic. I love him.
He's the most valuable variant in the first wave was the Stratos that had the red beard or the blue beard and the gray goggles. Okay. So it's a different head, and he's worth quite a bit if you can get the one that has the gray goggles and the blue beard.
I've got a new appreciation for nude Stratos from the Origins line because it was Space Commander's favorite version. So I look at that and instantly think of Space Commander. So Imagine that. Imagine having a correlation between a nude Stratos and Space Commander. Oh, beauty. Hang on, Phil. I'm going to bring you up full screen. I need to see that.
How badly do you want it, Xazyl?
What do you want me to do?
I've got him in ransom in Japan.
Oh, well, I've got a whole box of stuff for you.
Deal.
Done. But if you want me to sing a song, I can do that too. I once got a G.I. Joe command ring with Sarge on it at karaoke, and the way I had to do it was either sing a song typically sung by a girl or sing any song in the voice of Scooby-Doo. And whilst I regret not doing Scooby-Doo, I did sing All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You with the dedication needed to get myself a command ring.
That's fantastic. So did Origins do Dom, be well, my friend. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing for brekkie.
Thanks for sharing the shower.
Did Origins do both the red and the blue wings?
Good question. What color wings do they have there?
This one's got blue wings by the looks of it.
And what's on the cross on the back?
Yeah, blue wings as well.
Okay.
Ah, well, there you go. I wonder what I'm going to go check and see what my nude Stratos has. Give me one moment. I'll stop camera.
This is what happens with live television, folks. We just randomly pick up toys.
The main host just walks off.
That's right. Just
whatever. You're a co-host.
Guys, don't fight. Don't fight, guys.
Dad.
I'd say Dom is a fan of the nude Stratos.
He's seen enough today. So this is the figure that reminds me now of Space Commander. I think he owns the reaction figure version of it, but this one has blue as well.
Yeah.
So,
there we go.
I've just come back from a shower with Dom. I've seen some things.
Well. Stratos's wings were the first fix I did on the channel when I started doing repairs. So then and recreated them with like the cricket machine was one of the first repairs I did.
So I
Good
guarantee
morning, handsome man, Ratface.
Origins will bring out the other version for sure, right?
Yeah, they've got to,
without a doubt.
We'll catch up when we get to that wave. Then the first female wave one. Imagine wave one having their female character of Teela. Now, did anyone keep Teela's headdress on, or do they go cartoon accurate and remove it?
Well, do you know the story behind that?
Tell us.
Is that she was supposed to be a 2-for-1. Like she was designed to be the Teela, but also she was supposed to be the goddess figure. That's why her name was the goddess warrior, was because she was supposed to be you could have her as the goddess, or you can have her as Teela. And so that's why she wears the headdress that the green goddess in the mini comic wore. And so that she was actually supposed to be two characters for the price of one. Yeah, see, there it is. So that's not Teela, that's the green goddess. It's a different character.
Right. I thought she was just seasick.
But again, it was like, so that was a concept Mattel tried. Like they were trying stuff, and it just didn't take. No one thought that it didn't work. So we just now have Teela in snake armor, and that's what history shows it worked.
Did anyone have Teela?
I had Teela when I bought her at that yard sale. At that point,
yeah, nice.
I was over the like, it's a girl toy. I just was in.
Does anyone want to do a Teela impression? No, moving on.
I was not thinking of the most like, Adam thing that she could have said. Where is that guy?
And the fact that your name is Adam just makes it even better.
Well, I think I've told you the story that I had a buddy whose house I'd go to and we'd play Masters of the Universe, and he had a Prince Adam figure. He's like, you can be Prince Adam until he changes to He-Man, and then I'll be He-Man. I'm going home.
Oh, Trevor says, my dad wouldn't let me have Teal or Evelyn because they were dolls, but was fine with me playing with big, muscly men in knickers. Yeah, but we had when you had Voltron, you had to have the princess, so there was there was no way of going around it. But I remember having Princess Leia, and that wasn't an issue.
No, they were like Lady J or Scarlet or Jinx.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
Never a problem.
But good on them for adding a female character and they didn't have to turn it into a dolls line to do it, which is eventually what happened with She-Ra.
Yeah.
But I think out of all the characters, this one I probably have the least connection to. That's Zodak, right?
Yep.
With a C or a K?
He's Swiss, right? He's neutral.
Yeah, well, he was supposed to be bad because he had the angry Skeletor hands and feet.
Right.
So he was. Oh yeah, she was always needing rescuing.
Oh dear.
Don't tell Kevin Smith that. So he was designed to be a bad character, but when they gave the toys to kids to play with as like a test group, they made him a good character because he kind of looks heroic even though he's got the angry claw fist. So then they kind of recorrected and made him neutral, right? This kind of like let the kids decide, whoever buys them can pick. And then in the TV show, he was very much kind of like he wasn't a villain, but he was very much like, I will watch and not interfere, like that kind of like the watcher thing. I think for me, he was when I got those 8 figures at the yard sale. He was the one that had his weapon still. So they all had their armor, but he had his armor and his weapon. And he was the one that I was the most excited about getting because I already had like Battle Armor He-Man and Battle Armor Skeletor. So I had those guys already. This is a character that I got. And then for a while, he became like the focus of the adventures. I just think his look is incredible. He looks very, very spacey, very like you don't really know what's going on there. And I thought that anytime as a kid you get to create your own backstory and character design or character arcs for people because they would just leave it up to you was better in my mind.
So even though we have Stratos, which uses a rocket pack and has wings, why have one when you can have both? Even though we have Stratos, I think Zodak is much more in that technologically advanced side of Masters of the Universe. Out of all of them, most of them you could get away with just saying that they're swords and sorcery stuff. This guy really throws it into that futuristic sort of element as well. And with Zodak, that's given us our full Wave 1, 1982. And I don't think there's really a bad one in the bunch. I mean, I have less association with some characters like Zodak, but I wouldn't have been upset with getting any one of these characters.
No, not at all. I'm going to make a bold statement, if I can. Am I allowed to make a bold statement?
No, but do it anyway.
If my collection disappeared, if someone came and stole it, or there was a fire, or if lo and behold the collection disappeared, and I had to start over again, it would be with these 8 figures. These would be the first 8 figures I'd buy. Yeah.
How many of these do you have, Phil, in the original vintage version?
I think I've got all of those apart from I don't have Stratos. That's the one I really want.
And you've only gone and got one in the Origins line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I've got. I don't have Beastman's accessory either. But apart from that, I've got the lot there.
So you don't have his whip.
Don't have his whip, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think he doesn't really need one either. But great looking bunch.
I love that Skeletor's sword is leaning on Beastman. Like, don't move.
Yeah. Hold on to this, Beastman.
Yeah. No, I think it was a game changer for sure. But it was a solid line, and it was just guys being creative, right? Like the He-Man and Skeletor was the starting point, and then where do you go from there? And then just it would have been cool to just watch them, the thought process of like, where do these characters come from? Where do they look like? How are we gonna make it into plastic? I love it all.
Oh, Keep On Collecting says, Phil doesn't have a vintage Stratos. Let's see what we can do about that.
Oh,
Good on you. Good
what
on
a
you,
great
buddy.
show.
I definitely have a few extra vintage Stratos figures, and so it's just a matter of sourcing some accessories for them. So we'll get on that.
Is it just me, or does it look like Merman is really into show tunes? Like everybody else, this is like photo day, and everyone else is like, okay, let's take a photo. And Merman's like, look at me.
Class clown, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'm interested to. I've toyed with. Hey, Alex Mendez, how's it going, my friend? I've toyed with painting up a vintage Merman to have the gloves and the gauntlets on his feet, just to see what that would look like.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Now, did that bother anybody, particularly with He-Man, that the gauntlets weren't painted? Did that ever bother anyone? Because it never bothered me at all.
No, I think it's one of those things that adult collectors, we retroactively complain about. But as kids, that's just what it was. That's just who He-Man was.
Yeah, never crossed my mind.
No, it didn't cross my mind either. I just love that Merman.
You're gonna put a chorus line of those mermen together for you.
Nice. Yeah, we need a chorus line of that particular Merman. Try and sing "The Hills Are Alive" with the sounds of music in a Merman voice. I just don't think I can do it.
You can't do it, or you won't do it is the question.
I'll practice later, and I'll come back with it. I'll play it for episode 2. I don't lock myself into something that I know I won't do. I'm not going to do that.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's quickly go through what we got as far as wave 1 of the Origins were then. Leading off with, of course, the man of the hour, He-Man, now with painted gauntlets and that first edition style head.
Okay.
Will, how are you, Will? You're right about Merman. Thanks. I believe he came with the half sword as well in his first release.
Yep.
And if we look at, if we just look at the two of them, I mean, I think I don't have an issue with that head at all. In fact, that's the head that I use for Prince Adam. Mm-hmm. But when they brought out the other version that looked more close to this style, I was like, okay, I've got to go with that style. That's my He-Man.
Yeah. So I would say what bothered me, and I'm not a complainer, but I will say this once and then we'll move on. What bothered me the most about this He-Man release was the weapons and how they would be easy to recreate the vintage weapons, and they went a different route. So they went more of the mini comic book style sword, where the ends aren't connected, and that bothers me, and it doesn't look right. And the axe, without having the inlays in the axe, it seems to be different, and it just looks different. It looks like a regular axe as opposed to He-Man's axe. And then the iconic shield was like a flat shield, almost like a Viking shield. You can see there. It's got Viking rivets on it, and then this is more of a curved shield. And it just, to me, the weapons didn't hit the mark. And every other figure, the weapons are almost a 1-to-1 recreation. But these 3 weapons, for some reason, they went down a different road.
Yeah, for whatever reason. I mean, they went down. Maybe they're just trying to appeal to both adults and kids. Because if they're going a mini comic look, I wonder if some of these they also just looked at the mini comics,
maybe
as well, and didn't really look at the toys so much. Because I can't explain why they would go that route with the sword, being completely different to this style, unless that's what they looked at first.
Yeah.
Well, so there was quite a backlash to this original He-Man, right? When they brought it out, is that why they brought out another version?
Yeah,
especially with the other head. Yeah.
Yeah. So that second version came out in the next wave, did it?
It was either the next wave
3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll find out when we get to it, Phil. You're jumping too many waves ahead, mate. To be determined. But then to go with this He-Man, you got to have Skeletor. Now, I like that they've gone with a different look in the face as well, because you've got the classic mouth closed Skeletor look, and here's the Origins open mouth. Rah!
So this new head bothers me infinitely less than the He-Man head.
Correct. Yeah, me too. Me too. Not that I would have if they didn't release another version of He-Man with the classic style look, I don't think it would have bothered me too much because you've got so many different iterations of He-Man anyway since first one that it's just like, okay, this is just a different He-Man. But I get the argument. It was like, well, if they're going for that original look, why would you bother? But then the argument is, Adam, and you'd probably attest to this too, is like, if you've already got the original, why do you need an Origins one? Just get the original.
Get the original, right? They're not any less or more expensive.
They are as easy here as an Origins one, so they're not easy at all. So then, after what's your opinion on this Skeletor, Phil?
I'm not busting my balls to get him. I think, if you've got the vintage, I'm not. I think for Origins, getting the Flying Fist He-Man, the Terraclaws Skeletor are good options, but just the basic figures, nah, I can live without.
Right. So you're supplementing your original vintage figures with whatever it is more in the Origins line that is more financially.
Basically, financially, space-wise,
So that does lead me back to my question. I don't know if we came to an answer to, with if you have, say you've got Flying Fist He-Man now in the Origins line, you have them on display. If you found one at a cheap enough price where you're like, oh, I'll have this vintage Flying Fist He-Man, what would you do with the Origins one? You're just like, out?
Good question.
out with the new and in with the old.
You have a Viking.
I probably would get the vintage one, to be honest, because I'm more of a vintage collector myself.
Yeah,
but that's just me. Yeah.
So there's no point having both in a vintage collection unless you can't afford or can't locate the vintage one. But if you have a Origins one in your collection as a placeholder, would you replace it later on with a vintage one if you found it? And I guess, well, you would. Painting the boots of Skeletor is for just painted around the leg and not in the boot. Sorry, mate, go ahead.
I think finding the complete versions of those vintage figures is bloody difficult too.
Well, it is.
Finding Flying Fist He-Man, yes, but with all of his accessories, it's another.
I was going to say I've been tempted to pick up a Flying Fist Origins just to get his weapons.
Right. Yeah. That's a good strategy.
So then they got this version of Teela, which, to be fair, is a pretty good representation in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bang on.
No argument there. And for not just to have another female representation, but also monetary factor, as Adam pointed out, is we've got Evil Lynn.
Yeah.
But two great characters that go together well, and two females in the first wave, I think, even though it's probably just because of cost, is a pretty cool move too.
Yeah. So this is the one figure that I would say is a vast improvement on the vintage one, because the vintage one's head always looked a little weird.
Right.
It seemed like it was small. Like again, it was just a new head on a Teela body. But this looks like a great character. Now in my collection, you have to have an Evil Lynn. She's iconic. She's very important to the mythos. But her head always just looked a little bit odd. And so this to me is a great addition to the collection.
So in my collection, I've got the pale skin version. I don't have the green skin version, but
the 2000X version.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'll live with it. No, there's no. I can't show a picture of what it looked like. It's not up to whatever wave Evil Lynn or Evelyn.
Evelyn.
Evil. Yeah, I don't have whatever wave Evil Lynn came in the retro line, in the original vintage line. I'm not sure. Probably wave 2. We'll figure it out when we get to it. But then we got. Look at that. He just needs that mustache, right? It just works.
He looks right. Yeah.
Magnum PI right there.
Yeah. So as much as I love this figure, you can't have that kind of eyebrow going on without offsetting it with a mustache.
Yeah. No. But his eyebrows are a little less bushy in the Origins line.
Are they, or does the mustache just balance it out? Yeah, Trevor, that's a good point. Origins are a fantastic line for filling in gaps. It's true.
So
Classified's
Xazyl,
off the bed. Thanks for playing along.
See you later, Classified.
Xazyl, the Sarge Masters of the WWE, is his chest plate exactly the same as this Man at Arms Origins version?
Oh yeah, sure is.
Color.
Everything different color. It's a green. Oh, I'll go get it. Hang on. One moment, please.
Flash that Sarge.
Yeah. I'm gonna flex.
Any
I love that he's going to get a figure that we can see right there.
Exactly.
Shut up, guys.
He's been on screen for 90 minutes, Xazyl.
Yeah, but I'm making a point. He not only does he come with. I feel bad. I don't even want to show it now. No, of course I do. So he also has this cool decal on there as well with the star. And I like that the arm braces now have a section for mobility. Yeah. It's not all just one piece.
So do you know what my favorite thing to do with that Man-at-Arms armor is?
Tell me. Show me.
Yeah, let me I gotta get a chair and get it down.
Charles Bronson at arms.
I think
check out that collection. Holy.
Yeah, looking great.
Do what I can for you. Just bring on the camera. I want to watch everything fall off the shelf here. But after 2000X and then even the Kevin Smith stuff, I think the Man-at-Arms armor makes the most sense on Stinkor.
Yeah.
Because he's got like the little breathing apparatus here, covers his nose. This to me makes more sense than his actual armor.
Now I can't remember what armor he came with.
He came with the Mecha armor.
Yeah.
But to me, this with the little air tanks there and stuff, it just makes more sense to me. I think this is,
and the orange goes really well with him.
Yeah, no, it just makes sense. So that's how I display all my Stinkors with Man-at-Arms armor.
Nice. You'll be able to make a comparison yourself, Phil. When I send you your Sarge, you'll be able to make a comparison on your own.
You beauty.
Eddie's disease. So the last figure that we got, it was a small wave in comparison. The last figure that we got was Beastman.
Mm-hmm.
They elected not to improve on the whip and give him the same design, which is funny because they changed the sword, but they keep the whip.
And they keep the whip that looks like a lid to a big pen.
But doesn't it? It just doesn't look like it. Yeah, that's right. You're not wrong.
So when I fixed or recreated that for my Beastman, I used the lid of a big pen. Made one.
I believe it. It's true. Yeah, that checks out. But I think they're it's a good representation of Beastman.
I think what made the He-Man and Skeletor head sculpts stick out so much is that they nailed it with this one, and they nailed it with like Attila and Stratos, and that you're like, well, if they could do it so well on the other ones, why do they fumble the ball on He-Man?
Right. Yeah.
So. But no, that the Origins Beastman is as stunning as the regular Beastman. The colors pop, like he just works.
So a stunning wave one for the vintage, and a acceptable
solid start.
Yeah, it was a good solid start. They were still finding their feet, but a good selection of characters. Missing a few from the original wave, gained one that was from a later wave, but still, it's not bad. If this was their only wave that they did, it was a one and done for Origins 2, I don't think it would have the same impact as that full lineup there.
No. And I again, I'd say the best thing about Origins Wave 1 was you walked into a store and saw Motu cards on the peg again.
Yes.
And there was something very nostalgic about picking that up and buying it. Whether He-Man's head was right or, it was the right, you just like, I just want to buy a He-Man figure again. I just want to be 8.
When they showed images, some people were finding like a palette of them with a full display around it of Castle Grayskull. That I would have loved to be able to see something like that here. But yeah, it's good that we've got options now. I don't think Ken, I don't think we're living in the golden era of action figure collecting, but but I do think that we are living in the golden era of nostalgia collecting.
Yeah, I think we're living in the golden age of adult collectibles. We're not living in the golden age of toys.
That's right.
There must be about 100 Origins figures out now, are there? You showed me that list the other day, Xazyl. There must be close to 100 or over 100 out there.
They've caught up quick. They'll have to start going into. It's probably another reason why they added the Sunman characters, is to give them some longevity. But the fact that they have very small waves, like four characters per wave or 6 characters, whatever it is. I think it's only 4. Of modern waves now, if you take out the He-Man and the Skeletors that they add to it, 4 figures per wave, and they've got up to this many. The only tricky part is the ones that they put on Mattel Creations make it hard for collectors to get.
Well, and I think too the driving force behind this line pivoted Wave 3, whereas it came out to be a line for kids, and all the marketing was like, "Hey, dads, play with your kids again." That was their whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
As soon as they realized that, like, kids aren't super into this, but adult collectors are, they doubled down and gave us all the the paint
they did.
And the Masters of Evil. They dug there, like, if that's where the money is, we're going to go there. And then they went with a different way for the kids with the CG stuff. But
well, on that, guys, I reckon we've had a stellar episode 1 of MOTUesday Night Live.
MOTUesday Night Live.
Off and running. O for Origins.
No, so it's MOT, and then you, the viewer, can to.
Perfect. Yes, nice. Nailed that. I knew that's what we were doing. But thanks to everybody in the chat that has hung out with us on a Tuesday night here at our time zone. Adam, thanks for getting up early and hanging out with us.
Anytime. Anytime. This is hanging out with like legends and buddies and talking about Masters of the Universe figures. Come on. There's no better way to start a day.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. It's always fun to hang out with you legends anyway. But don't forget, moving forward, we will be showing more Masters of the Universe characters with future guests. So if we hit you up to be a guest on the show, make sure you have your figure parts and colors on hand so we can digitalize your character. Gazz will turn up. How are you, Gazz?
Yes.
Hey,
So here's
morning.
my dream of dreams. My dream of dreams is that Muscle becomes such a fan favorite from this stream that next year he is the Origins exclusive at PowerCon. Is that Muscle is now out there in the ether, and he comes a life of his own. And like Wintor exists, he's in pieces, but he's going to exist. He's going to get shipped out. But we're going to sit on Muscle until Origins decides to make a con exclusive of him. That's
hey, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. You never know.
You can't tell with these crazy adult collectors here.
Just make sure you get your cut, mate. Stranger things have also happened where people have gotten ideas have just been ripped off.
But here's the thing: I don't think any of it's my intellectual property because it's all Mattel pieces.
I just want you to be recognized, Adam. I just want you to be recognized for the genius that you are.
I just want to have more toys in the world.
Well, I appreciate it. Phil, thank you for being my co-host. Anything else you want to sign off?
Thanks to everyone for showing up in the chat for the first episode. Some people have got up very early in the morning, and it's great to see everyone. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, if anyone's keen to be a guest, let us know. Send us a message. Let's create
That the
your
most
figure.
New Zealand comment I've heard you say. If you want to be a guest, let us know.
Why not?
That sounded so Kiwi.
It's been fun.
I'm excited to see where MOTUesday goes. I think it's got the potential to really become something. Not that this episode wasn't something, but like once this gets its legs under it, gets the origins treatment, and then really starts going. I think this could be a game changer. You guys,
this first episode was just the original head, and we need to come back with a vintage style head on the next one. But it was fun.
It was not that. It was the half boot Skeletor is what this episode was. That's going to be very
we're half booting it.
Right?
The links to Phil's channel. Oh, that reminds me, just to let you know, this show is going to flip-flop from my channel to Phil's channel, alternating weeks. So the next part 2 will be over on Phil's channel. The link for Phil's channel is in the description below. And then we'll be back on my channel with episode 3, so forth and so on. You know how tennis works. It's like that. I'll lob it over to Phil, and Phil lob it back over to me.
So is it kind of like when we're at Xazyl's channel, we're in like Castle Grayskull, and then we go to Snake Mountain for Phil's channel because it's like Skeletor. So that's
exactly what it is.
Exactly.
So I think next week we can do all his intros through that like wolf head microphone.
Yes, that would be so cool. Actually, that's not a bad idea. We'll leave it at that. Thanks again, Phil. Phil's channel link is in the description below. Adam's channel is in the description below. I'm going to show the stop motion again for those that missed it at the beginning, done by Corbra Lang, and his channel is also in the link below. Check it out one time, won't you? And with that, how do we close this out? I'll see you next MOTUesday.
Whoa. No. You guys need to give a moral lesson at the end of every episode. Today, we talked about Dom in the shower. If you ever in the shower with Dom,
when you're in the shower like Dom was today, don't forget to check your helmet for red dots.
Until next time.
Until next time.